I think one of the saddest things about adulthood is losing time to indulge in curiosity. As a child, I loved exploring all different kinds of topics and hobbies, and one of my favorite things to do was go out into my family's backyard, which was kind of untamed and a little wild for most suburban backyards, and just explore all the little nooks and crannies and plants and secret hiding places that I could find around me. Fast forward to today, and I find my life so busy that I don't have as much time as I would like to explore my new home of Arkansas and get out into nature and go on as many hikes as possible. There are still several regions of the state that I have not explored that are on my list of things I want to do, but it's difficult for me to find time to do that. And so I think one of the reasons why I find Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild a great game for non-gamers like myself is that it rewards the curious. It's the kind of game where you can make it whatever you want it to be. Yes, there's quests and battles and tasks that you need to fulfill, but you're never rushed and never pushed to do those things. You can do them at your own pace, and after, completing an intense battle with one of the bosses, you can then, go for a long period of time before you even do anything else like that and just spend plenty of time exploring Hyrule. I think that's one of my favorite ways to play the game, is just to go exploring, to pick a region and, scale mountains, find new paths, discover ancient ruins or maybe even dragon bones, and just indulge in some glorious curiosity for the space of 15 minutes, half an hour, however long I have time for. And I can do it from the comfort of my own home when I'm either too busy or too tired to actually get out and go on a hike. So how does this game reward the curious? Well, you can spend hours upon hours of playing this game, and each time you dive into it, you could find something new. Something you hadn't found before. Even when you've completed the main story arc of the game, there are still things that you can unlock and do and find well beyond the completion of the main storyline of the game. New weapons, new hoards of treasure, new ruins, plenty of shrines, all different kinds of things to explore. The map is so vast, and there's so much extra space that seems like it's just quote, a waste of space, that it's not necessary for the game. But that's the beauty of the game. You have so much of this beautiful fantasy world to discover that it just invites you to go deeper, to go further up and further in, to quote one of my favorite authors. And it just calls to that inner child in me that used to go for adventures in her own backyard. So in addition to my playlog, I am also working on my Brown Book of Hyrule. This book is something that was inspired by things I learned this semester from studying Celtic literature. I already knew that J.R.R. Tolkien had created something called the Red Book of Westmarch as part of this fictional legendarium for Middle-earth. It's not actually a book you can buy. It's a book that the hobbits supposedly put together as kind of their history. And what I learned this semester was that Red Book of Westmarch was likely inspired by the Red Book of Hergest from Welsh history, which is really, really cool. And these books are usually named for the color of their cover. So the Red Book is literally a red book. And so I decided, of course, to create the Brown Book of Hyrule. Within this book is a collection of hand-drawn and painted maps, obviously, a list of all the different shrines for each region, as well as places of interest. But what I'm also trying to do slowly is either add pictures or some text describing just the nature of these regions so that I can start to learn, okay, what is the Hebra region? What is the Faerun region like? Some of them are a little bit more obvious than others, based on their name or just because of some really standout landmarks, but others are not quite so obvious just from the name. And so I want to be able to know just by the name of where these different regions are and what I need to be prepared to go into those regions. So for example, some of the regions that you might enter require certain kinds of clothing to be able to survive the elements. So it's kind of a fun book to put together. Also in the book, I am making a collection what is kind of inspired by a medieval bestiary. These bestiaries were books about the natural world, a lot of times animals, and they would just describe, what these animals were like and kind of almost turn it into like a book of virtues kind of collection, where they would talk about, different things that these animals would do and how, one might read the book of nature and take lessons from the natural world about how the animals behave and how we might behave as human beings, for example. They'd also illustrate them, so I'm including some pictures. Here at the end, I'm just sharing a few little bits and pieces that I've collected for my library. I want to go through my library soon. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I lost every single book in my collection, and I'm slowly rebuilding my library, and so I'd love to show you some of the things that I've collected. So anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas celebration with your family and friends, and I will see you next time. Bye.